cross-border mobile money interoperability among other payment systems within the AFCFTA to enhance buying and selling within Africa's 1.4 billion consumer market. Ladies and gentlemen, we will also be creating a marketplace to streamline public sector procurement. As a result of the increase in fiscal space from the tax and expenditure measures we are going to undertake, we will be in a position to enhance the digital economy by abolishing the e-levy as well as taxes on mobile phones.
So you've been listening to Haji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia during the Manifesto launch of the new Patriotic Party yesterday. We'll bring you some more of what the Vice President and presidential candidate of the NPP said yesterday at Takoradi. But quite a number of people, of course, at the Manifesto launch spoke, including actor Prince David Osei. We know that he has been a very strong advocate for the new Patriotic Party, and he was quite excited about some of the things that the Vice President is bringing on board if Ghanaians vote for him to become the next president of the country. And he's joining us on the phone line now for a conversation about some of the things that he said. Prince David Osei, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Star.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for joining us here. You were in Takoradi yesterday. What was the feeling like?
It was exciting. It was boisterous. You know, there was a lot of excitement in the air. I hope this was packed.
And how did you feel, about the whole Manifesto launch in terms of how it was organized, the things that were said, the delivery of the various people who spoke and all of that? What's your overview as a member of the NPP, as a supporter of the NPP? Were you proud of what happened yesterday?
Yes, to a large extent, I would say yes. We had a successful Manifesto launch, and the real work has begun because we need to let the electorate know what is in for them come next year, 2025. The plans and the ambitions of His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So most of the plans and what he wants to do has clearly been highlighted and are good to go.
Right. So we know that you operate in the creative arts space. And from where you sit with what you've seen in the NPP's manifesto, and also what you've seen the NPP as a government do so far, what would be your assessment of the NPP's performance in the creative arts space? And then you can dovetail into moving forward, looking at what the NPP plans to do for the creative arts space under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's leadership. Are you happy with that?
When it comes to the sector of tourism, creative arts, I think he did state that there was going to be a flat tax rate for the creative. So we also, in some way, will contribute to the development of the nation. There was going to be, he's going to establish a travel protocol service for the creatives. These days, sometimes when people have to go do shows with issues with interview dates, visa refusals, it's going to make it very easy so that we'll be able to travel and engage, do stuff outside the country. He also said he was going to implement, the e-visa policy for international visitors to Ghana, whereby people can easily come into Ghana, thereby boosting tourism. He said quite a lot, establish for the creative, for instance, we are going to put up streaming outfits, which is going to help us sell our works when we produce movies and when we produce music. We are going to have a platform where we can stream our movies and make revenues for ourselves and all that. So, yeah, I think for the creatives, it's good. It's a new beginning for greater things, and we look forward to it.
What about for the 2020 manifesto and the last 4 years or so that we've seen? Would you say, though, the promises that were made to the creative arts sector have been fulfilled under President Akufo-Addo? that gives you confidence that moving forward, Dr. Bawumia will do what he says he will do for the creative arts sector?
For the creative arts sector 2020 manifesto, a lot of promises were made. Some of them were not met, like with the construction of cinemas across the country. Not all were met, but as you know, there are always challenges. I believe that is why I said something yesterday that a lot of people misconstrued. I said voting for Dr. Bawumia is voting for the change we all want. He has the bold solutions. It's someone who is coming in to help solve all the complexities we have in our economy. He's a transformative leader that will bring a lot of change and change the fortunes of our nation. So, at the moment, we all know he has been a mate for 7 years, and he's going to transition to become a driver very soon, come 7th December 2024 in the elections. So let's give him the opportunity, Let's bring a different narrative to our political landscape. Let's have him as the first ever Muslim president to ever emerge in Ghana. He has the bold solutions, bro.
And you just mentioned change. And this is a comment that has got a lot of people, especially on social media, talking. I don't know if you've seen some of the comments that have come after you made that. I mean, you're saying that there is nothing that the alternative can offer. Vote for Dr. Bawumia to take us to dreamland. We are voting for change. So when you say we are voting for change, other people view it as the NPP coming in would be continuity, but you are saying change. So what exactly do you mean by that?
Okay. So you heard me say, vote for progress, vote for prosperity, vote for prosperity, vote for the future. And I did say that the alternative, I don't want to mention it, but the alternative will not help us. It will send Ghana into an abyss of disaster. Having said that, the change I meant was vote Bawumia for change. The Akufo-Addo government is ending in few months' time. There's going to be a transition. Transition is change. Dr. Bawumia is going to take over as the first ever Muslim president to emerge out of Ghana. That is change. The bold solutions is bringing up with regards to our economy, with regards to healthcare, with regards to the elderly ones in Ghana, with regards to the market women, with regards to the spare part dealers, with regards to the Okada riders, with regards to everybody inclusive in Ghana. It's a change. That is what I referred to when I said vote Bawumia for change. Voting to help solve all the complexities and the problems we're facing in our economy. As I already said, being a mate is different from being a driver. If we give him the opportunity to be the driver, he's going to spearhead the affairs of Ghana. He's going to be in full control. So that is what I meant by the change. But you see, when some political parties don't have a message for the people, they thrive on everything and want to use it as a propaganda. I believe the NDC party is a very big party. If they have a message, they should tell the people, and they should stop using propaganda. The change I refer to, I cannot say vote for progression, vote for posterity, vote for prosperity, vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, the incoming president and the incoming vice president. And I say change, and people refer to being maybe voting NPP out. No, that's not what I meant.
So you mean change as in, a new dynamic?
New dynamic, fresh brain. This is a man who has integrated digitalization in Ghana. Through him, life has become very easy. Now we can do a lot of things due to the introduction of digitalization in Ghana. You can easily get a passport without writing an essay. Previously, you had to fill a whole form, take it to the post office or take it to the passport office. Now, by the click on your phone, you can get a passport. With the Ghana card, invention of Ghana card, he has helped cleared a lot of ghost names in our payroll. People were just making money out of it. He has done that. This is a man that has used the public address system to help us navigate through the whole of Ghana. With Mr. Bawumia's digitization, we can go anywhere because digitization is working. So there's a whole You see, he's got a foresight. This is a leader who has a foresight. He sees ahead of the future. So we should give him the opportunity and break the age and let him continue the good works. His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has already started.
Right. So, how would you reconcile asking for change? You know, Dr. Bawumia is a fresh face, coming with fresh ideas, coming with a fresh vision. How would you reconcile saying that to those who would say, well, I mean, yeah, he's been in office as vice president, as head of the economic management team, as number two to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when it's, you know, the same NPP which has been at the helm of affairs, essentially, which is going to be the one that, if we vote for them, will continue. And so there isn't really going to be any change, so to speak.
So if in other words, when you say there isn't going to be any change, then you are saying His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will still be in operation, will still be in power. Dr. Bawumia's bold solutions ideals are different from His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Do you understand? Nana Addo Dankwa came with a free SHS, and Bawumia's vision is different from that one. In as much as he's continuing the legacy of Nana Addo, he also has his own bold solutions he wants to implement when it comes to the affirmative action for women and girls. This is someone who cares for society. He has plans to implement and wide-ranging tax reforms by giving flat rates, you know, for people who want to clear containers, who want to clear their goods, you know. So this is a fresh idea. This is a fresh man coming up to accelerate and drive Ghana to the promised land. Bawumia's plan to support businesses and to drive and to create jobs and all that is different. He has a different vision altogether. Do you understand me? So if I say we should vote Dr. Bawumia for change, that is what I mean. It's entirely fresh ideology.
Okay. All right. So
people shouldn't misconstrue it.
Okay. So before we let you go, you also said the elections will be on November 7th. Should we just take it as a slip of tongue? Because people seem to be also talking about that.
Oh, no, they don't have anything better to say. Definitely, as a human being, you're bound to make mistakes. And you standing on the podium with the noise everywhere, with excitement, definitely such error is bound to happen. There have been instances that presidents that have spoken on bigger stage for years. Recently, the president was going to refer to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He mentioned Mahama. How is that? Do you understand? So I don't think that's something. You see, people thrive on negativity. All the positivity that is there that I said, they don't want to project it, but they rather thrive on negativity. I'm a human, so if I say 7th November, which is wrong, it was supposed to be 7th December, you should just indulge me. I'm just human. Yeah, I'm bound to make mistakes.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't see any big force. I don't see any big force about that.
All right, very well. Prince David Osei, grateful that you've spoken to us this morning here on the Morning Star.
Thank you.
All right.
It's a pleasure.
You've just heard us speak to actor Prince David Osei. He was there yesterday in Takoradi, and of course he's been clarifying some of the comments that he made, and he's been talking about the NPP's manifesto and what's in there for the creative arts space as well. It's 8:41 a.m. You're still tuned into the Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM. We'll try and engage some other individuals as far as this is concerned. We've played you some of Dr. Bawumia's speech, and we've been also trying to run you through some of the promises that have been made as far as the NPP's manifesto is concerned. That manifesto has been launched, and they've talked about the fact that this manifesto is a manifesto which is bringing solutions to the business community. It is business friendly, so it's bringing solutions to the business community, and it's also going to focus heavily on creating jobs, right? Creating jobs, and very friendly to the business community. This is what the NPP's manifesto, according to the NPP themselves, is saying. And so later on, when we activate the phone lines, we would like to know what you have got to say about this here on Star 103.5 FM. And if you don't know the number, just write it down. When it gets to the time for us to activate the phone lines, we'll definitely do that. It's 055288 0216 055 288 0216. Okay. We wanted to get onto the phone line and speak to Dr. Asa Santi. Is a political scientist, and we had him on the line, but we seem to have lost him. We'll raise him on the line again and then have a conversation with him, as regards this. And if you look at the NPP's manifesto, like we have been running you through today, they say that their number one priority is to stimulate businesses and create jobs with a strong focus on the private sector. So when you read some of the highlights of the NPP's manifesto, they, for example, say, and I quote, "Our commitment to you is to invest in the growth of Ghanaian businesses, create millions of
secure jobs for the youth,
and ensure individual and collective prosperity for safe communities, and to offer you a problem-solving leadership of integrity." So when you go on to, I think this is one of the pages, page 18, which talks about our commitments to you. When you look at the highlights of the manifesto, this is what they say in there. So are you convinced? Are you happy? Are you excited? Is this going to make you vote for the NPP? Looking at the manifesto and what it puts out there, is this what is going to convince you that the NPP is
the party that you want to vote for moving forward? These are the questions that we're asking you today, and we'll get onto the phone line so that you can tell us later on. But let's now speak to political scientist Dr. Asa Asante. He's joined us on the phone line. Dr. Asante, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Star.
Morning, sir.
Thank you very much for your time. I hope you're doing well today.
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm fine, thank you, by God's grace. Great to have you here on the show. Let's start with what your overview of the NPP's manifesto launch is. They did it yesterday in Takrady. I believe that you followed. So, first impressions before we even get into the other issues.
It was a well-organized program, and people attended. If the number is what to be believed as the true representative of the people, then we had their numbers. But I have no doubt that that constitutes the real supporters of the party and the rest of them. In terms of organization and everything, it went on very well. In terms of content, is what has brought us to this platform, and we want to discuss. 3 issues were what identified as key or the main building blocks of the manifesto of the NPP. Cost of living, jobs, roads. Fantastic ideas. All right. One would have thought that they would have added other areas. But of course, no government can answer all our questions or solve our problems at a go. So you need to choose a few and work on them and all that. But that brings me to other areas that I thought that they would have also given us more information in that area. You can't talk about cost of living, jobs, without also talking about shelter, without talking about food, even though I admit that part of the conversation related to the manifesto, they touch on some of those areas. But I wanted to see more in that sector. Let's take, for instance, the party has decided that they will strengthen agricultural production to be able to deal with food sufficiency and problems associated with food security and all that. Great idea. I love that. But how would they get there? They also told us that they will get there through irrigation and all that. If you look at farming activities in the north, it is more irrigation driven if we really want to sustain agriculture and make it meaningful and use it to create jobs and provide food for our society and our industries. So the issue, they talk about revisiting the issue of Kwalugu Dam. Yes, brilliant idea. But how would Dr. Almia make me or convince me to believe that this time around, what he's saying, he will do it. His government told us that, yes, they are cutting saw, they are doing this to get us Kwalugu Dam. $12 million, almost $12 million. We have not identified any meaningful thing that we can place our fingers on relative to the dam construction. I am worried because the construction of that dam is going to be one of the game changers relative to our problems that we have in the area of agriculture and irrigation and the saving of Akosomo Dam. Let me break them into details for you to appreciate what I'm talking about. That dam, when constructed, is going to hold some of the water that will come from the dam, which they have threatened that they are going to spill the water anytime soon. The dam will take a lot of water there, and the rest will be used for agricultural purposes, that's irrigation. So that will create a lot of work, employment, and also put people on the job on the field to work and produce food for our society and our industry. So that dam is the sine qua non in Latin. That is without which not. We can't do without that. Then the water that gets, passes through the dam goes to Akosomo. And there, once the water is reduced there, it reduces the pressure on Akosomo. Then Akosomo also takes some, produce electricity for us, and the rest goes to farm and all that. So you realize that seamlessly, we are getting out of this problem if we get this dam, right? And where is the dam? Now, Dr. Baumia saying that you bring private people in and all that. I ask myself, did they do the right, feasibility study the first time they promised that they were going to do, or now that they've seen that what they look at was wrong and all that? It tells you that the thinking behind that in the first time was totally what? And this time around, I think they want to do something new. But hey, how do they convince us when we have already sunk $12 million? Who will believe them? I don't know. They have to figure it out and convince Ghanaians. They also talk about issue of dealing with corruption. Brilliant idea, because you and I are alive to the fact that corruption is one of the devils or the evils that have reared their ugly hairs in administration of this state for a very long time. And government that we have had since time immemorial have been struggling with it, particularly so when we are talking about the Fourth Republic, where government have made conscious effort to pronounce that they would deal with corruption head-on. But we have seen very little in terms of what performance, particularly this government. With all the noise about the fight against corruption, what we can have is what? The high figures of what? Corruption relative to Transparency International data and the rest of them. It's not good enough. So this time around, I don't know how you want to convince me that you'll be able to fight corruption, especially when you look at it from the background that corruption, he said he will fight using digitization and all that. Yes, digitization, brilliant. But if somebody is caught having done under invoicing, having done things that are, corrupt in nature, the digital system has exposed that person. You need the Attorney General to be able to prosecute that person and all that. Has the government got the political will, the courage to do this? What all that is missing is what? Lack of political will and courage to fight corruption head on. So for me, I've said it. But as to whether I'm placing a premium on it, part of it, I'm not. Because they have not demonstrated to me in this republic that they are in to fight corruption head on. Issue about what? Job creation. Fine, brilliant idea. They have worked to reduce the numbers and all that. But if you look at the figures that they said, the number of jobs that they've created and all that, 1.2 or so, 2.3 million jobs and all that. Brilliant idea. But we want to know the total unemployment figure. And then when you said you have done 2.3, then we can appreciate the fact. Recently, remember, Statistical Service came out with the number of people who are unemployed. And it's amazing. So when you look at this one, it's just a flash in the pan. We want the government to be able to deal with unemployment head on. Because the universities, people look at the government program, CSHS, brilliant ideas. It has produced people, it has helped society and all that. We are getting more in the university. But the university cannot continue to work, produce people who will not work have employment. As for the university, the technical universities and the other universities, they will produce people. But where do they go after university? That should occupy their time. I want to see more in that direction. And I'm not getting the picture here. He talks about issue of taxes. He's going to broaden the tax net to raise more money. You want to cancel e-levies and all that. Brilliant idea. Especially make the number a source. You should be able to what? Broaden a tax net or have meaningful means of raising revenue to run administration of the state. It is what we call state capacity. That's the extractive capacity of the state. The state should be able to do that. If a state fails that, then the state is gradually moving towards what we call the failed state. All right. This government has done well in that. He has raised revenue and all that. But how effective do we put this resource in? It's my biggest worry. All right. They have used it to run the affairs of the state. Fine. But some areas we have just wasted state resources. Look at what the cathedral gets. Where is it? $58 million gone down the drain. So if you are collecting taxes, people ask you, what are you going to use the tax for? All right. This question shouldn't have come if all things being equal, government had applied resources judiciously in all areas of government operation. But some areas, they've done well. But some areas, I'm afraid, we have wasted. Look at Auditor General report. It's replete with financial malfeasance and malpractices and all that. Meanwhile, the party is promising that they will ensure a strict physical discipline. When did they know this? Is it today or they've known it for a very long time? Why are we here? If they've known it for a long time, why are we here? And even why we are the IMF? Going to IMF is a mark of indiscipline, physically. That has sent them there. All right, it's part of the things. So how do they convince us that this time around there will be more discipline in terms of physical engagement? Let's look at the issue of ministers. They will reduce them to 50. Brilliant idea. I love my heart for him. But I asked Dr. Baumia, when did he realize this? All right. When people have said that 120 will not inure to our benefit, they did not listen. It fell on deaf ears. They talk and talk. We talk and talk and talk about. Nobody listens. Today, we have seen the need to reduce it to 50. Brilliant idea. Thumbs up. But my issue is that we can even go further to 19 and have 19 ministers, not 50. Because the constitution of this country says that cabinet has should be made up of 19 ministers. That tells you that, and if you study political science, cabinet is the small body of senior most ministers who make all the important decisions in the state. So you want to limit yourself to 19, have 19 ministers, and the constitution says that you should have regional ministers as well. One minister will double as a minister of state and a regional minister. So you will have somebody like who would say a minister for defense and at the same time Ashanti regional minister. Brilliant idea. Then, you are going to have 16 ministers who double as also regional minister. And the three remaining, give it to the big ministries such as finance, maybe any other two. Then you give it to them. And then we'll run. 19 would have reduced our budget more and clear all deputy ministers and support the ministers to decide these duties through the use of the public service. So that the senior public service will support the ministers and it will create a space for people to be employed into the civil service, to be trained to, step into their shoes when they are not in office. For me, this is more progressive and I want to see it in that direction. So these are some of my views on the issues that I listen to.
Right. And let's talk about one of the other issues, which is, good governance. Under good governance, they say that they are going to reinitiate the process of getting MMDCs elected through universal adult suffrage to deepen decentralization and effective local governance. Is this something that, from where you sit, is a good thing for us to go back to?
Oh, this thing has been good since time immemorial. And the party, to be fair to them, they did not renege on their promise. They gave Ghanaians opportunities to choose or select their MMDCs through a referendum. And Ghanaians blew it away. So I am happy that they want to bring back that conversation. It's a good thing. I applaud them for that. I think that because at the moment we have a very disjointed political system. At the grassroots, there is something which is non-partisan, and at the top level, there is partisan. It doesn't fit well. So let's elect all of them. Remember that power emanates from the constituency. It's not at the top. So once we elect the president, the MPs from the constituency, let's also go for our DCs and MMDCs also through elections. Let us get them so that at the end of the day we have a uniform system. So that one I have for the government. Government did not fail in this direction, except that government do have a
And then one other thing that they've said they want to do is involve chiefs more when it comes to, governance. For example, they talk about reviewing Section 63 of the Chieftaincy Act to empower chiefs to strengthen local governance. And they also want to pay living allowances to paramount chiefs, divisional chiefs, and queen mothers, Considering the way our chieftaincy regime is now, if this were to be done, is it going to enhance, good governance? Is this the way to go from where you sit as a political scientist?
Ask yourself. It's a brilliant idea, but ask yourself whether the state has the resources to do what he's talking about. Paying queen mothers, paying chiefs, and all that. Do we have the financial muscle? Where is the money going to come from? This time around, I don't want to hear a conversation where promise. Tell me how you're going to work the mathematics if money is involved. Obviously, money is involved. Why are you going to get the money? How are you going to use it to realize your dream? What are the factors you want to put in place? For me, that is what the crux of the matter. So the promise, yes, and in politics, in campaign, you have to promise, but demonstrate beyond reasonable doubt that you can tell me the figures, the numbers that are involved, so that I can follow the conversation. Although that if you are not able to do this, I'm afraid it will fall on deaf ears.
And in all of these promises too, one of the things that a lot of people have been concerned about that this government has really not been able to tackle is illegal small-scale mining. And when you look into their, summary document, they talk about ushering in a new age for Ghanaian-owned small-scale mining for wealth, jobs, and also to promote responsible and sustainable small-scale mining, including addressing illegal small-scale mining. And they go on to list some points with regard to how they are going to deal with that. For example, making available proven reserves data to small-scale miners to help deal with the associated problem of trial and error digging for gold, simplify the small-scale mining licensing regime, scaling up the use of mercury-free gold catcher machine technology, which is less damaging to our environment, and ensuring strict adherence to our mining laws and regulations to prevent illegal and improper mining practices. When you look at this and you juxtapose it to what this administration has done with regard to the fight against illegal small-scale mining, do you have any confidence that we can do any better, or a Bawumia administration can do any better with fighting Galamsey?
I have my doubts. All right, I have my doubts because charity begins at home. If the government is serious, which the government that Dr. Bawumia is part of, is serious about addressing this problem, we should have seen evidence now. Now, Galamsey is going on. Our forests are being destroyed with impunity, and our river bodies are full of poisonous substances, especially where mining these activities take place. And the state, we have a state as if it is on sabbatical leave, and nobody is addressing the issue. It's cause for worry. So this new drive, new idea that is coming on board, I would have thought that they would have added it, started with the implementation of it now, so that we see evidence and we can tell you that, oh yes, we promised this. Even though we have difficulty, we have started this. And if you give me opportunity, I'll continue from where I have started. That is more reassuring than these ordinary statements. This for me is flies in the face of the real issue on the ground. It is too light for me to accept, because if anything, they should do the needful now. At least begin something for me to demonstrate to me that we are capable. All that is happening is that the government doesn't have the political will. The party doesn't have the political will to deal with issues that confront society head on. It is just a lip service. So this one, he has said it,
he has what? Made it blunt to us that for me, and from what I have experienced, I don't think that he will be able to do this. Because if they will, they should demonstrate it. They are not in opposition, they are in government. So we want to see the evidence now.
And with all of these promises that are being made, the NDC is making promises, the NPP is making promises. I mean, when at our count, we saw well over 100 promises, made in this NPP's manifesto. I'm pretty sure there are going to be quite a lot also in the NDC's manifesto. For us as Ghanaians, as the electorate, how should we be viewing these promises that the politicians are making to us, trying to get us to vote for them? What should be our posturing in receiving these promises and critically looking at these promises that they are making to us?
You see, there's nothing wrong for a political party to make promises. It's not wrong. In politics, it's never wrong. But that you have to go beyond the promise and walk the talk. That is it. And how do we measure what? Your ability to do it. It's a function of what? Your records. Remember, government is nothing but a contest of ideas. Share ideas with us and referendum of your work. Have you done it before? If you have, show evidence. All right. These things we are talking about are not things that are new. They are things that exist and continue because they have not dealt with them. The problem continues to linger on. Are you with me? So we want to deal with vis-a-vis what they've promised us previous election and see how far we have come. And then we'll be able to you and I, as people who share or educate the public, it is incumbent upon us to scrutinize these things, have a meaningful and a fair discussion of it, and give it to Ghanaians to consume. Remember, not everybody in this country will be able to do the analysis you and I will do. And that is why it is our duty to also interrogate the issues as fair as possible, and then leave it at the doorstep of the ordinary mind for him or her to make up his or her mind. That is our duty. Because other than that, it becomes a difficult and a technical document for my mother who sells cocoa or watch it or cocoa on the street. These things are critical. So we who have the opportunity to educate and inform our people, we should do it and do it professionally so that we bring it to the understanding of the ordinary man. That is where we are able to bring everybody on board. Remember, democracy is demos, clarity. The government of the people. The demos are the people. So if you discuss this, if you say this, you talk about this thing, and the people who are the base do not understand, forget it. It's an exercise in futility.
Dr. Asante, always a pleasure speaking to you on the Morning Star.
You are welcome.
Thank you very much. And you've just heard us speak to Dr. Asante. He is a political scientist. In fact, he's a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, and at the University of Ghana he is also the director for the Center for European Studies, speaking to us this morning here on the show. And he said quite a lot and he's broken it down for us. What are your thoughts on this? We'll be getting to the phone lines here on Star 103.5 FM. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.